I'll do it again.
Nope, because I love it because
Okay.
it's normal. That's
Like,
everybody
that's
first YouTube. I'm gonna send you my first YouTube.
I'm like, what else am I supposed to say? My name is Felicia, and I'm the best. The actual original idea to start No Wound Untreated wasn't all my idea. So I was working for City of Buffalo, Ellicott District at that time, and a person that was coming in a lot, working on some things. He was working on I think what's called the Child Abuse Task Force for the City of Buffalo. And we just began talking about the work that he was doing. And he actually encouraged me, like, you should do your own thing. Like, you should have an organization. And he had some ideas. So we actually started out, the name was like ridiculously long. It was the Buffalo Center for the Prevention and Treatment of Child Sexual Abuse. Like, there was no good acronym. It was just, that was the name though. So we started out as that. And our focus was specifically child sexual abuse. And we had an annual celebration called the Freedom Celebration, where we honored survivors of child sexual abuse. And No Wound Untreated grew from there, when we kind of saw what was happening in our community with domestic violence, gun violence, just a bunch of trauma in just various ways. And we were like, so we need to expand this umbrella. And we just kind of brainstormed. It was really like a brainstorming session to come up with the name No Wound Untreated, but it was born from that one single program. Growing up, I didn't have a lot of experiences that I thought were trauma at the moment. Looking back, I was like, oh, that was probably traumatic. Oh, seeing your father get hit by a car, that was probably traumatic. Seeing your own children, be hit by a car, that was probably traumatic. I didn't view it as trauma when that was happening, but I had a lot of friends who were always experiencing like a lot of trauma, whether it was molestation in the family, child sexual abuse, some type of victimization, gun violence, surviving gun violence, and things like that. And I just naturally was drawn to wanting to help with no resources or like know-how at that time when I was younger, but just always kind of inherently drawn to wanting to help people. And then that just felt like the biggest need in my own community. I grew up in the same community, and just looking around as I grew up, like that was something that was kind of constant, was trauma in my own community.
So that can lead into our next question, because I know that No Wound Untreated really hit the front lines during May of 2022. So can you talk about what that was like?
Yeah, that was, oh man, that was such a hard time for a number of reasons. For our community, I was about 2 weeks away from getting married, and we were sitting in a premarital counseling session when my phone just started like blowing up. I'm like, who is calling me? And then I saw my mother calling me back to back to back. I'm like, she knows what I'm doing. Let me just see what's going on. And she goes, I just heard that somebody got shot at Tops, just checking on you guys. I'm like, oh no, that's unfortunate, but we're fine. And then my phone kept ringing, and then I kind of at some point realized this is bigger, like, and that's a part of it too, with trauma. Like, to hear that somebody got shot at Tops, it didn't, like, no alarms went off. It was just like, man, that's messed up, but that's not normal. That's not a normal part of what somebody should just be like, oh, well, somebody else got shot in the neighborhood. But we're so desensitized to gun violence and desensitized to even recognizing things as traumatic. Then I got a call from my employer at the time saying, something has happened, and can you come? So when I first arrived, I arrived as an employee of that organization, but as things unfolded and we kind of knew what happened, it became a community effort. So No Wound Untreated got involved right away. We were in groups. We saw people individually. We tried to be at as many spaces that we could to provide community support at that time.
So we've talked a lot about this word trauma. Explain to the people exactly what trauma is, because it is a buzzword these days. You'll often hear people say, that's not trauma. Yeah. I always say, if it's traumatic, it's a trauma. That's just my theory, but I'd love to hear yours.
No, that's the perfect theory. In this world, this therapy world, we talk about trauma like big T's and little T's. And to me, how I explain a trauma is something that it's the things that hit harder than normal. Life has ups and downs. We're gonna have bumps. We have times we have to get through hard things, and they're not all necessarily traumatic. Things that are traumatic usually stick with you in a different way. There's usually some symptoms. There's usually something afterwards. There's usually a feeling that comes up when you even think about it or talk about it that kind of puts you right back in that space. So whether something is a big trauma, when we hear trauma, we think like car accident, house fire, sexual abuse, assault, DV, like those kinds of things. But there can be smaller traumas too, like a loss of a loved one that was expected, but it can still be traumatic and interrupt and impact that individual's life. So it is a very personal thing. There's no universal trauma because it is such an individualized thing, because we all have different levels of resiliency and things impact us each very individually. So I would never like to hear anybody be told like, oh, that's not trauma. It might not be for you, but for that individual, if they experienced it as a trauma, then it's a trauma.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
We see that in the ACEs, right?
Yes.
Divorce is
Yep.
considered a trauma for a child. So
Yeah.
What are some of the programs that No Wound Untreated currently has going on?
Currently, one of our programs that's becoming like my baby too is a program that we have for mothers, whether you are a pregnant mom, a new mom, like if the baby's under 3 years old or 3, or a breastfeeding mom. We have a program called Mommies in Mental Health, and you don't have to have had a trauma, even though a lot of Black women do experience trauma in their pregnancies and birth and don't even realize, that something traumatic might have happened, or something that probably shouldn't have happened might have happened. But this program is to completely support new moms, breastfeeding moms, postpartum moms in that transition into motherhood, support any traumas that they might have gone through, should that be the case, and to prevent. Because some traumas are indeed preventable. Some things can be preventable, and we don't even think about trauma like that because it usually feels like something that happens where there's no control. It's not always the case, so one of our jobs as well is to educate and prevent trauma. And we are working on, this is not active yet, but it's about to be, so I'll speak on it, some programming for young adults, and we are using the program called Seeking Safety. It's a model. It was designed for substance use and trauma, but it can be used for substance use and or trauma. But the beauty of the adolescent program is that it teaches things that all adolescents need to know anyway, about creating safety, how to care about yourself, creating boundaries, things like that that are important for anybody to learn. So I feel like that'll be a good program. I'm looking forward to working with our community's youth for that.
Absolutely exciting stuff. What do you want people to get from this YouTube channel?
So I want this to be an additional resource to any resources that you may already have, or even a starting point if you don't have resources and don't know where to start in regards to mental health, trauma, accessing mental health care. I know we can't cover everything, but topics that are kind of heavy hitters in the communities that we serve. I just want to be an additional resource and level and layer of support. And information and education.
Absolutely. And so this channel is for community members, it's for clinicians.
Mm-hmm.
Who else is it for?
Yeah, if you're watching this channel, I'm going to say it's for you. If you're watching this channel, you're here for a reason. It's for you. There's something to learn, to gain, to gather, even if the information is not for you. 9 times out of 10, you know somebody else that can use this information that you can pass it along to. There's going to be some jewels, some gems, some information or knowledge that is going to either hit home for you, or you're going to think of somebody else that, oh, they could probably benefit from seeing this. Even if it's like a little YouTube short, share it. Share it with somebody that you think can, that'll make their day, or something that you might have known they're going through. That's what we want to be, a support to anybody who is watching the channel, because I just figure that it's going to be helpful to you in one way or another. So thank you for joining us at No Wound Untreated's brand new YouTube channel. If you like what you saw or have information to share with somebody else, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, like us, like our videos, and click that notification bell so that you can know every time we upload something new. Bye.